two other guys are going to run away from Joakim Noah, who's going to dunk this basketball.
Hey guys, this is Dominique Wilkins.
Hey, this is Sean Kemp.
This is Gary Payton.
Hey, this is Pau Gasol.
NBA fans, what's up? This is Vince Carter here.
Hey, what's up? This is Matt Barnes. If you're an old school NBA fan like I am, make sure you check out the Basketball Time Machine with my man Sean David.
Hey guys, what's good? Welcome back to the Basketball Time Machine. My name is Sean David. Thanks for tuning in. Let's talk some old school NBA basketball. Not too long ago, I uploaded two videos which were fan requests, giving you my reasons why I basically have problems with the basketball player LeBron James and the basketball player James Harden. And I was expecting actually kind of a backlash, but it didn't happen. On the contrary, many of you guys actually enjoyed those videos. So while scrolling down my comments, I saw that many of you guys also wanted me to do more videos like that. So I thought, okay, let me do one more video like that. So in today's episode, I will give you my reasons why I personally feel that LeBron James and Russell Westbrook got, well, basically exposed this season. But before we dive into today's episode, let me ask you guys for a small favor. If you're new to the channel or if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel, and even more important, click the notifications button so you always get notified once I upload a new video. All right, you guys, let's do it. So where do we start? Now, if you follow the NBA this season, which I also did, even though I'm not a big fan of today's game, but I still follow it on a regular basis, you notice that the Lakers are basically a bad team this season.
The Lakers are such wussies. And I only say wussies because I can't say the word I want to say.
I know.
I mean, they're not even at the 500 mark. I think they lost like 7 games more than they actually won, which is... yeah, it's terrible. Like, I mean, there's no beating around the bush. It's terrible. And part of the reason is LeBron James. And many of you guys will say, hey, how's that even possible? The guy is averaging crazy numbers. And let me start off by saying that obviously LeBron James is a sensational player, and obviously he's one of the greatest players of all time. But to me, being a basketball fan for over 30 years now, for being a basketball fan who always looks really deep into everything, basically, I think LeBron James is also part of the problem why the Los Angeles Lakers are having such a hard time. And let me give you my first reason why. Now, if you just take a look at the stats, you will say, oh, this guy is almost averaging 30 points and he has like 8 rebounds per game and 8 assists. Now, obviously, those are crazy numbers. But the Los Angeles Lakers are not functioning as a team on offense and on defense. And let me start off with the most important thing to me, defense. Now, if you take a look at how the Lakers are defending, you will see that they're never on the same page. Like, you never have, for a majority of the game, 5 guys on the floor where everybody is giving his all. And LeBron James is also part of the problem. Like, if you take a closer look, you will see that he has many moments where he's obviously given up on his team. Like, he doesn't defend as good as he possibly could for the majority of the game. And how can you expect your teammates, if you are the leader of your team, how can you expect your guys to follow you if you don't lead by example? And let me show you some clips.
Volleyed into the arms of Bridges. And look, if you're the Lakers, you just got to get back and you got to play the proper defense. They're not getting back. LeBron James is not back yet. Obviously, you know, the stretch, and Frank Vogel wants to talk it out. This is
Jokic has the mismatch over to Green. He's going to shoot the 3 this time. That's good, too. So from close range or
those clips you just saw are basically just a few. There are many, many, many examples where LeBron James is literally giving up on his team on defense. And to me, if I would have been a teammate of LeBron and he would have his locker room speeches telling me, oh, you got to defend like this and this and this. I want you as a leader to lead by example, which LeBron James is not doing every single game. And don't get me wrong, there are games where LeBron James is defending well, but you can't defend well just every second game. It doesn't work like that. If you are a leader, you got to do it every single time, like Michael Jordan, like Scottie Pippen, like all the other guys, like even guys like Kawhi Leonard, for example. Yeah, obviously he got his injury issues and so on, but if he's on the floor, he's giving you 100% on defense. So that, to me, is what a leader should do. Then the other thing on offense. Just like I mentioned on defense, LeBron James is not always giving his 100%. He does the same thing on offense. Like, when his team is supposed to run a break, and if you are a basketball fan, you know the easiest buckets that you can get are fast break points. Especially when shots are not falling, you're looking for easy buckets to get yourself back into the game. But there are so many instances where LeBron James is not running the break. And that, to me, is basically like you're only 4 people on the floor if one of your teammates is not running. And that, for example, is LeBron James. Let's have a look.
Yeah, but I don't think he caught arm either. I think it's a good no call. But why is he barked at the bench? But why is he standing back
going
here?
Between the Suns and Lakers? Westbrook given space. That's why.
So that, to me, again, is a big problem. If your best player on the team is supposed to be your leader, I'm expecting something else from you. But now let me tell you why I personally feel LeBron James got exposed this season. Now, if you follow my show on a regular basis, then you know that Michael Jordan is my favorite player of all time, and to me, the greatest player of all time, no question. But if your favorite player is LeBron James, and you think that LeBron James is the best player of all time, and you really feel that there is evidence and proof, we have to take a look at this season. You know, when you have the argument deciding who's the better player, Jordan or LeBron James, one of the arguments or one of the reasons why the LeBron James fans always got LeBron James at number 1 is LeBron James is making his teammates better. Now, let's take a look at LeBron James's entire career. Now, when he was playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers, the first part of his career, obviously the Cavaliers were always a pretty successful team, and he even helped them to make the NBA Finals. But you have to remember, the Eastern Conference back then was terrible. There were only like 4 teams in the entire Eastern Conference that were an above 500 team. And the Western Conference was the tougher conference. There you had like 10 teams battling for 8 playoff spots. So that reason, to me, is not a real reason. Then for the rest of his career, LeBron James was always playing with at least 2 other superstars. And I'm saying at least 2 other superstars. When he was playing with the Miami Heat, he had Chris Bosh and he had Dwayne Wade, Ray Allen, by the way, as well. Then when he was playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers, the second time he was playing with Kevin Love, who was averaging 25 and 15 when he was still playing for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And he was playing with Kyrie Irving, who at that point was considered an MVP-type player. So now, for the first time, LeBron James is not playing with 2 other MVP-type players. Now, obviously, he's playing with Carmelo Anthony and Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook. But obviously, Carmelo is not the same player he used to be, and Anthony Davis is missing many games. But all of a sudden, now that LeBron James is not playing with 2 other superstars at the same time, his team is not successful. And this is something that I have been saying for years. In order to judge how good a player really is, you gotta take a look at how good is he performing if his supporting cast is not the greatest. Now you can see, is he really making his teammates better? Because now, to me, if he would have his team being a above 500 team, then even I, as a Michael Jordan fan, would say, okay, respect LeBron, you really make your teammates better. But what is happening right now, his team is below 500, and if the NBA would still have the old model where you have only 8 spots available for the playoffs and not 10 spots, and obviously not 10 spots, but where place 9 and 10 are still having a shot at making the playoffs, his team would not even make the playoffs. So this to me is one of the reasons why I feel LeBron James got exposed. If you want to impress me, LeBron, make your teammates better right now. Make an average team make the playoffs. So that to me, as I said, is one of the reasons why I feel that LeBron James is exposed that season. Then talking about Russell Westbrook. Now, I got to be honest. I liked Russell Westbrook for many, many years, and not because I liked his basketball IQ or other things. The thing that I liked about him was that he's giving you 100%. And that is something that I really respect, especially in today's NBA, where I have the feeling that not everybody is playing as good as he can. But I always said one thing, and I feel confirmed now. I always said that when Russell Westbrook will hit his early 30s, he will be an average player and he will be struggling. Why? Because, and this is something especially for your younger folks, when your athleticism leaves you, then you can see how good a player really is. If, let's take, for example, a guy like Tim Duncan or a guy like Dirk Nowitzki, players that were still putting up very good numbers when they were 34, 35. That is because their fundamentals were great. Michael Jordan, best example as well. Russell Westbrook is not the quickest anymore. His athleticism is not as it used to be. And suddenly he's struggling big time. So, and this to me is something that shows me as a basketball fan and a basketball fan of basketball IQ and basketball fundamentals, you have to work on your fundamentals when you're still young. Even if you're a superstar and you're in your mid-20s and you're averaging 25 points and something, you have to work on your fundamentals in order to be successful in your early 30s and throughout your mid-30s. And to me, Russell Westbrook did not do that. His mid-range game is not great. His outside shot is not great. Many other things on his fundamental skill set are not great. And now he's basically ruining his later part of his career. And this is something that I personally find very, very disappointing, because you have all those years, all those training sessions where you have all the time in the world to work on your game. And yeah, you relied on and you trusted your athleticism, and now we see what's happening. So this is something that I also feel very sad about, and this to me also shows that Russell Westbrook got exposed this season. So for all the young NBA players and even guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo, who I'm a huge fan of, work on your fundamentals. I mean, I see that he's already working on his game, but start working on every fundamental possible so that you don't have the same faith as Russell Westbrook. Anyway, you guys, this was my take on why I feel Russell Westbrook and LeBron James got exposed this season. I am very, very curious about your opinion. Please post your opinion in the comment section, because I want to know if you can follow my arguments, and especially LeBron James fans. I know that it's hard to hear stuff like that about your favorite player. I know that I have a hard time listening to guys that talk negative stuff about Michael Jordan, but I always try to see it objectively. Maybe you can do it too. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I hope I see you next time on the Basketball Time Machine.